All this week, we're celebrating America's 250th birthday with a special look at Minnesota's history. Tonight, before we became the 32nd state, this land was home to native nations and coveted by rival empires. Chris Rapsky shows us who laid claim to Minnesota before it was Minnesota.
To fully understand what was going on in the Minnesota area by 1776, you got to go back about 12,000 years. As the Ice Age wanes and the glaciers retreat, historians believe the first humans, Paleo-Indians, inhabited this area. Petroglyphs in southwestern Minnesota show thousands of years of ancient culture, astronomy, and stories shared by the Lowway, Oto, Cheyenne, and Dakota ancestors. Over the centuries, Dakota bands occupied central, southern, and western regions. Ojibwe, or Anishinaabe, migrated from the east, settling in the northern portion of what would become Minnesota. By the 1600s, the French colonize along the Great Lakes and seek alliance and trade with native people.
They sent only men into what is now Minnesota and said, you will marry native women, you will make babies, you're going to make families and cement our trade and political and military alliance through family. And that was by order of the French government.
By the mid-1700s, this region becomes a global bargaining chip. Natives still occupy the land, but France claims it.
After France loses the French and Indian War, all the land west of the Mississippi River is given to Spain. That's the Minneapolis side. All the land to the east of the Mississippi River, that's the St. Paul side, is claimed by the victor of that war, Great Britain.
West of the Mississippi remained part of Spain at the end of the American Revolution. When Napoleon came to power in the 1790s, he forced Spain to give what was known as Louisiana to France. And then, of course, Napoleon sold Louisiana, including Minnesota, west of the Mississippi River, to Thomas Jefferson in 1803.
With European claims cleared, the U.S. government spent the next several decades orchestrating a series of treaties with the native Dakota and Ojibwe nations. In 1805, what would become Fort Snelling is the first parcel purchased by the U.S. for pennies on the dollar. This map shows just how quickly the rest of the land changed hands, with each section becoming U.S.-owned. Over 30 years, in what historians largely call deceptive treaty negotiations, millions more acres in east-central Minnesota is ceded to pay fur trading debts. The treaties retain Ojibwe hunting, fishing, and rice harvest rights, still held up today by the U.S. Supreme Court. By 1851, eastern bands of the Dakotas are pressured to cede all of southern Minnesota except reservation land on the Minnesota River. By 1855, the Ojibwe do the same in the north. In half a century, 50 million acres of native land become the 32nd state of the Union in May of 1858.
And that story continued to evolve. Tomorrow night, a look at the waves of migration that made our state what it is today. And if you're interested in how communities across the country are celebrating the people who continue to shape our nation every day, you can watch an hour special. It's called America's 250, Red, White, and You. It's streaming right now on our app.